Charles Finney. He was preaching up in Evans Mills, and someone came to him and said that the wife of the local blacksmith, a guy named Comstock, she was really sick, and she was asking for Finney to come to tell her about Jesus and tell her she thought she was dying, how to get to heaven. And so he went to her home with another man to minister to her, what looked like her deathbed. And come to find out, she is a Unitarian or a Universalist. Well, just the opposite of everything Finney believed. And so Finney began to tell her about Jesus, and on her sickbed, she received the Lord. Well, when her husband came home that night, he was livid that Finney had been in his house. And Finney had talked to his wife. And now she has the hope of heaven. He doesn't believe in that. He doesn't believe in any of that. Doesn't believe in the supernatural. Doesn't believe in life after death. Doesn't believe in any of that. And now his wife, and he thought, this guy exploited my wife on her sickbed. And he was so angry at this young evangelist, new pastor in town, that he packed a pistol and he put it in his coat, and he decided that he was going to go to church where Finney was preaching that night, and that he was going to shoot him in the pulpit in front of everybody, because he went to his wife. He went to his house. And so the meeting house is a little tiny stone schoolhouse, and Finney was at the front, and he was partway through his sermon, and Comstock was going to shoot him, but all of a sudden he fell out of his seat and started calling out and crying out. The Spirit of the Lord had somehow slayed him, and he was saying, I'm going to hell, I'm going to hell. Well, they don't believe in hell. So he said, I'm sliding into hell. And it was such a shock for people that, they knew that he didn't believe in hell as a Universalist, and now he's saying, I'm going to hell, I'm going to hell. And they're trying to console him. Finney goes back to find out what happens. They find the pistol. He's crying. He's deranged. He confesses. He come to shoot Finney, and he pulls away from the crowd. He runs out into the woods, and that's the last that they see of Comstock until the next morning. And he was in the woods all night, crying out to God, asking to be saved, asking God to change his life and change his ways. And he's there praying by himself, and he doesn't know if he's gotten through. He doesn't know if God's received him, because that night he was going to shoot a preacher. And so he's asking the Lord to show him, that he really has been born again. He really has had a relationship with God to start. And so he come out of the woods early in the morning, and the first person walking down the street was Finney. And he went up to him and he hugged him. And he said, Mr. Finney, he said, last night I hated you, and I was praying that God would change my heart. I know he did, because when I saw you, when I emerged out of the woods and I saw you, I had an overwhelming love for you. That flush of love was the biggest indication that something had really changed in his heart. So one of the first things God does, that's when people get saved, all of a sudden their marriages are better, they treat their kids different. Everything changes because the nature of God in you wants out and wants to express himself in us and through us and to us. And that's the first taste that we get to experience of something I call the grace of giving. Let's explore this whole thing just a little bit more here in this next session.